Hi, guys. Welcome back to Capable of Change, a podcast about overcoming toxic behaviors. Today, I want to talk to you about Raleigh Police Department. A lot of you guys know I'm very passionate about criminal justice. That is my concentration in school. Also, I have been in the criminal justice system all too many times. So it's important to me. It is also what I'm writing my thesis on. So I am also located in Raleigh. So Raleigh Police Department is on my radar. And lately they've been on everybody else's radar too, because they had a viral video go live this week, and it wasn't painting anybody in the best light. Let's take a look at it.
Surveillance video shows the moment some unhappy customers got into a fight with the staff at the Wingstop on New Hope Church Road Friday night.
I did. You threw this cup on this chicken? I didn't.
The customers called 911.
I was very scared. I really didn't know what was going to happen, what they was going to do to us. That was the point of me telling everybody to record.
The video shows Raleigh police officers quickly focusing on a customer, 24-year-old Makai Lucky, even though everyone says he wasn't there when the fight took place.
I came in here after the situation happened, right?
Correct.
I told you that. He already knew that.
Manager Lucretia Godwin repeatedly defends Lucky and tries to defuse the situation. Officers struggle to detain Lucky. People scream as an officer presses a knee to Lucky's neck for 10 seconds. The video shows officers shoving Godwin and slapping her phone away twice.
He's making it seem like I did something to them, but they were assaulting me, though. They were mad because I was recording them.
Local activists are weighing in on the videos.
Because I was recording them.
Local activists are weighing in on the videos.
What I want to see prevented is this type of escalation. It begs the question of why didn't Raleigh Police Department de-escalate?
Now, 4 people were arrested total. Godwin faces 6 charges, including felony assaulting an officer, which again, she vehemently denies. She's never been in trouble before, never been arrested before.
So in this situation, I agree 100% with Kerwin. Full disclaimer, it might be biased because Kerwin and I work together often. We work together in a organization called Emancipate North Carolina. They do good work to stop the school to prison pipeline and help those who are currently incarcerated. They do a lot of work with Bail Fund and ACLU. So I will link their information down in the description. Go check them out. They're great people. But I definitely agree with Kerwin here that the thing that we're missing is de-escalation. Aside from the fact that these guys shouldn't be kneeling on anybody. I mean, we all watched George Floyd. We all watched him die because somebody kneeled on him too long, and a police officer at that. So these guys should have got full sensitivity training, and beyond that, they should have they should just be aware that that is not socially acceptable anymore. That is a no-no. In fact, police departments should have, should frown upon that, and they should receive discipline for that. But I guess it hasn't been changed as a law here. I'm not really sure. Anyway, nobody should be doing it, right? And in this situation, a girl just showed up for work, and when she got to work, an altercation happened that she had no, she didn't know was going to happen. She had no control over. The police get mad at her for holding a camera, which was what I believe happened, and showing outrage, which, is understandable. I do believe they got upset because she was broadcasting or recording what they were doing and their bad behavior. They know it's bad behavior, but that's why they got upset at her. And now she's just facing felonies, and she just went to work to try to work her job, and she might not be able to ever have a job again because of this situation. So I do believe the police could have handled it better, like Kerwin said. They don't have very good training. The Raleigh Police Department is a boys' club. They are egomaniacs. They are definitely just looking for a reason. They are definitely people that are just waiting. They go to work every day waiting to knock heads in and knock doors in. Like, that's what they want to do. And you know, it's a bad situation. And I don't want to say they're racist, but I will say they are intolerant for sure, and they are definitely undertrained. And right before this, a man from the Latin community was killed by RDP for the same reason. It was not even a month ago that the police were in trouble again because of this situation.
Well, there's about 12 minutes of video, and some of it, as you might expect, is rather graphic and very upsetting to watch. What it shows is confusion in the initial moments when police first arrived trying to deal with Daniel Tosios after he had rolled his vehicle containing his wife and 2 children. The video shows Daniel Tosios carrying his 7-year-old son in the minutes after the crash on Interstate 440 as police try and determine what happened. Tosios is agitated, speaking Spanish to the officer while bystanders speak to him in Spanish and try and get him to calm down. The video shows him retrieving a knife and swinging it at EMS and firefighters.
Put the knife down now! Put the knife down!
His wife, Rosa, tries to get him to give up the knife with no success. Video shows him taking his injured son by one hand and walking away with the knife in the other hand.
Drop it!
His wife, Rosa, takes their son away from him, and he continues walking until he is tased by an officer. Multiple body cams show Tosios trying to get back up after being tased and swinging a knife towards the officers. This is when one of the officers begins shooting at Tosios.
So they tased him, but then they pretty much unload on him immediately. And you can see that he is swinging the knife, but I'm unsure if he is swinging the knife because they are tasing him. It happens so quickly that the police are running towards him, and he is being tased at that moment. He was walking away from them, and then the police start tasing him, and then he starts flailing his arms like anybody would that was being tased, and an officer walks up to him, and in that process he is still with the knife, and so they shoot him, and it happens in a matter of seconds. And you know, personally, I think it's a little overkill. I don't think the police should have come towards him while he was holding a knife. I think they should have tased him and then tased him again and continued to tase him and back away until he fell down. He had a knife. No one was around. At this point, the child was gone. The mother had come and taken the child. He was no threat to the child. So that was an issue. He was by himself, you know, so I'm not really sure why the police felt so threatened. In my opinion, this is like what I touched on earlier, is that the police are waiting for a reason. And all you got to do is be close to an officer with a gun, with a knife, or just holding a knife, and then they're like, yay, I get to use my guns. Like, that's how they act in this situation. And then they went and cuffed him while he was laying on the ground. Like he could get away. Like, after they had shot him, while he was, like, dying, they're like, oh, let me go cuff him and take up more precious moments of his life and make sure that he dies. Like, he definitely wasn't a threat at that point. So, I guess I just feel like this situation could have been de-escalated. This little boy did not have to see his father or family member die in front of him that day. He is going to be fucked up, and his child, his idea of the police is going to be horrible from now on. He's going to probably hate the police for taking his father. But, with that said, I want to say I do have an immense amount of respect for the police. I'm not saying I don't. I don't want to live in a lawless society. I do not believe that there is any job that you should do where you have to worry about not being able to come home to your family, that you have to believe that when you go to work that day, there's a possibility that you could get cut by some dude with a box cutter. But I do believe these officers need to be more well trained on what to do in that situation. If somebody has got a knife to me, around me, my heart's going to be beating fast and I'm not going to be thinking very well. And that is what I think happens in the case of the officers. They are just running on adrenaline and training, and they're not thinking clearly. And so they're just, shoot first. I don't want to get hurt. And I don't want my friends to get hurt, which are the other officers. If you are swinging a knife and on an officer, or you're in the public, or swinging a knife on the public, you need to be expecting some type of retaliation. If you don't, I don't. That's the problem, right? Like, we need to be accountable. We need to have personal responsibility, and that's why I say that if for those moments, just for those moments, that the police have you in their sights, or you are having some sort of altercation with the police, you need to drop your ego and be grateful for their service and what they do every day. Even if you're not, you need to pretend, because these are the moments in which people's lives are changed forever. This is the moment in which people die. And you need to just kiss their boots. And I promise you, if you tell them, I appreciate what you do, and you give them a little bit of more flattery instead of giving them attitude, it will go a long way for you and for whatever is happening at that time. I've had a lot of experience with cops, and immediately when they start talking to me, I immediately start talking about how grateful I am for them and how I understand that they're just doing their job. And it always helps. Just start with respect. Respect their authority, as Cartman says.
I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
You don't need to be pulling knives. You don't need to be acting a fool. And if you do, you need to be aware that something like this could happen to you. This gentleman was literally lunging at a cop with a knife. So I'm not really sure. I know he was possibly drunk or disoriented, but, what do you expect, right? So in this situation, I do believe the police could have de-escalated better. We have to take personal responsibility, and we have to agree that the rules that we have as a society, we have all agreed to abide by them, and if we don't abide by them, we pay the consequences. And in this case, this gentleman paid the consequences, and I believe the officers were justified. I do believe they could have dealt with it better, but in this case, I believe they were likely justified. But here is a situation that I do not find to be justified.
RPD confirming the news tonight in an email. Detective Omar Abdullah was terminated from the Raleigh Police Department on October 28, 2021. The 12-year RPD veteran fired 1 month after the city agreed to pay $2 million to 15 men who alleged in a federal lawsuit that Abdullah and other officers worked with a criminal informant to frame them with fake heroin, landing the men in the Wake jail for months with high-dollar bonds.
So this happened, just a couple months before the shooting that we just discussed. It's a case that I'm very familiar with because my senior thesis uses it as an example. So one day, I'm going to do a deep dive into it. This officer was fired, and a lawsuit was filed. So this officer was fired, and a lawsuit was filed, and this happened because the community put pressure on the DA, who was originally had just placed the officer on paid leave. So the outstanding cases by the officer were eventually dropped, and the DA eventually agreed to fire the officer, let him go, and the guys that were being charged along with this plaintiff, there was 13 of them, and they sued the town of Raleigh, and they were awarded, I believe, $2 million by the city of Raleigh for wrongful accusations. And then it was swept under the rug. They fired the cop, and we didn't hear anything else about it. But the lawsuit named a slew of other Raleigh police officers. And what about the people that had already done their time? You know, their lives were interrupted and destroyed based on bogus charges by the police, and the lawsuit named multiple officers. I think there was like at least 7 named. It could have been more, and only this guy is taking the fall. And I definitely believe this shows that there is a serious problem within the Raleigh Police Department. It is not this guy that acted alone. Officer Abdullah was his name. He did not act alone. It took a lot of other officers to... I mean, this is the culture in this police office. Like, this is the culture in this police department. So, as some of you know, I have had a history with RPD, so I am very familiar with these guys, and I can tell you that it's not an uncommon practice. They do this kind of stuff all the time. And as I said, my senior research project is on the use of confidential informants, and Raleigh Police I use as examples a lot, and I have done a lot of research into their practices. I have also worked with them. I am not happy to say, but back in the day when it was something that I had to do, I worked with them for about 2 years. I know the ins and outs of what they do and what their practices are, and they are definitely some of the worst offenders with this kind of stuff. But we'll say that for another day. The company culture at RPD is toxic, and you would do best to stay away from them at all costs. Like I said, if you get caught up, smile, nod, kiss their asses. Literally kiss their asses. It could save your life. But I want to know what you guys think. Have you ever had an encounter with RPD? How did it go? Do you believe they were justified in any of these cases that we looked at? What should we as a community do to stop this type of behavior? Let me know down in the comments so we can discuss it, and I can discuss it in my next videos. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep searching. Keep trying to do better.
Now, a total of 5 shots were fired by Officer A.A. Smith, who public records show at the time of that incident had been on the job 16 months.